A nation on edge, tensions flare in Mozambique. Mozambique, a nation on the southeastern coast of Africa, is grappling with a wave of unrest and uncertainty. The recent elections, meant to be a symbol of democracy, have ignited a firestorm of controversy. Opposition leader Venancio Mondlane has issued a call to action, urging citizens to protest what he alleges to be a rigged election. At the heart of the turmoil is Frelimo, the party that has held on to power for almost 6 decades. Their victory has been met with skepticism and outrage. Mondlane and his supporters are challenging the results, citing widespread irregularities and potential fraud. The streets of Mozambique have become a stage for dissent. Protests, fueled by anger and frustration, have erupted across the nation. Demonstrators are demanding transparency, accountability, and a government that truly represents their will. The situation is volatile, with each passing day pushing Mozambique closer to the brink. The world watches with bated breath, hoping for a peaceful resolution. However, the deep-seated grievances and the erosion of trust in the electoral process paint a bleak picture. The path ahead for Mozambique is fraught with challenges, and the fight for a fair and just democracy has just begun. The Iron Fist government's response to dissent. The Mozambican government's response to the protests has been swift and severe. Instead of engaging in dialogue or addressing the concerns raised, they have chosen the path of repression. Security forces have been deployed in full force, using tear gas, water cannons, and even live ammunition to disperse the crowds. Reports of excessive force, arbitrary arrests, and intimidation tactics have flooded in from human rights organizations. Journalists attempting to cover the protests have been targeted, with their equipment confiscated and their safety threatened. The government's actions have been widely condemned by the international community. Amnesty International has accused the Mozambican government of human rights violations, stating that the crackdown on dissent is the worst they have seen in years. The United Nations has called for restraint and urged the government to respect the right to peaceful assembly. The African Union has expressed concern over the escalating violence and the shrinking space for civil liberties. Despite the mounting pressure, the Mozambican government remains defiant. They have dismissed the criticism as foreign interference and accused the opposition of inciting violence. The crackdown on dissent continues, casting a long shadow over the future of democracy in Mozambique. The international community is left grappling with how to respond to this escalating crisis. A cloud of doubt. Allegations of election fraud. The credibility of Mozambique's recent election hangs precariously in the balance, shrouded in allegations of widespread irregularities. Opposition parties, led by Venancio Mondlane, have vehemently rejected the results, claiming that the electoral process was fundamentally flawed. At the heart of their accusations lies a pattern of suspicious activities that have eroded trust in the integrity of the vote. Claims of voter intimidation, ballot stuffing, and manipulation of voter rolls have surfaced from various polling stations across the country. International observers, while acknowledging logistical challenges, have also expressed concerns over the transparency and fairness of the election. The European Union Election Observation Mission noted inconsistencies in the voter register and reported instances of restricted access for their observers. These allegations of fraud strike at the very core of Mozambique's democracy. They undermine the fundamental right of citizens to freely choose their leaders and cast doubt on the legitimacy of the government. A thorough and impartial investigation into these claims is crucial to restore faith in the electoral process and ensure the will of the Mozambican people is respected. Section 4. The human cost impact of the crisis on Mozambique. The escalating political crisis in Mozambique is exacting a heavy toll on its citizens, casting a dark cloud over their daily lives. The unrest and uncertainty have permeated all aspects of society, leaving a trail of economic hardship, social fragmentation, and a pervasive sense of fear. The protests and the government's heavy-handed response have disrupted essential services, including healthcare and education. Schools have been forced to close, depriving children of their right to learn, while hospitals, already grappling with limited resources, are struggling to cope with the influx of injured protesters. The economy, already fragile, is teetering on the brink of collapse. Businesses have been looted or destroyed in the chaos, leaving many without livelihoods. The tourism industry, once a beacon of hope, has been dealt a severe blow as visitors stay away, fearing for their safety. The crisis has also exacerbated existing social tensions, deepening divisions along political and ethnic lines. The atmosphere is thick with suspicion and distrust, making it challenging to engage in constructive dialogue or find common ground. The human cost of this crisis is immeasurable, leaving lasting scars on the fabric of Mozambican society. Section 5. Echoes of the past parallels in Southern Africa. The political turmoil engulfing Mozambique is sadly not an isolated incident. It serves as a stark reminder of the challenges faced by many Southern African nations grappling with the legacy of liberation movements that have transitioned into long-ruling parties. Zimbabwe, under the iron grip of ZANU-PF for decades, has witnessed a similar erosion of democratic norms, characterized by disputed elections, economic mismanagement, and human rights abuses. The ruling party's grip on power has come at a high cost, leaving the nation mired in poverty and instability. South Africa, despite its remarkable transition to democracy, is also grappling with the persistence of corruption and inequality, remnants of the apartheid era. The ruling African National Congress, once hailed as a beacon of hope, has been plagued by scandals, eroding public trust and fueling social unrest. Namibia, another nation born out of a liberation struggle, faces its own set of challenges. While the ruling SWAPO party has maintained a relatively stable political environment, concerns about corruption, land reform, and economic inequality persist. These examples highlight the complexities and contradictions faced by Southern African nations as they navigate the path from liberation to democratic consolidation. They serve as a cautionary tale for Mozambique, underscoring the importance of addressing the root causes of the current crisis to avert a descent into further instability and authoritarianism.